All right, well, while you're talking about secret recipes, I'm going to start going over this. All right, so you ready? I'll post it up online so you can watch it back later if you want, but we'll start with this. Why are predators important for prey animals? Say what? So, it does keep them active, but it prevents overpopulation. What's that called? Overshoot. And second thing?
Death.
It kills the ones who are genetically inferior. Okay, the ones who are.
It keeps population.
So it keeps the population genetically healthy. You with me on that? By eating the weak and only allowing the strong to survive, right? Okay, so those are two things that predators do for prey animals. Now, symbiosis means
They both benefit.
interaction between two organisms. Symbiosis, living together, right? What are the types? Mutualism, commensalism, parasitism, competition. Okay? So predation you could also consider, but that's less of a symbiosis because they're not living together, right? One's killing the other. So what symbol did I give for mutualism? Plus. And what symbol did I give for commensalism? Plus 0. And the 0 is important because it means one benefits and the other gets
Nothing.
Well,
technically they do.
but that doesn't really exist in reality, right? But the O in commensalism will help you remember that, right? Okay. And then what's the other one? Parasitism?
Plus negative.
Plus minus. So basically one is helped and one is
Pregnancy.
you have to say harmed or hurt, okay, on some level, right? And then competition would be negative. Two negatives, because in competition
Nobody benefits.
both gets harmed, right? That's why most males who are competing over a female will usually do what instead of fight?
Intimidate each other.
Try to intimidate the other one so that they don't hurt each other. Okay. Competition is a form of symbiosis. What would its symbols be? Minus, because of what you just said.
I'm not reading this one.
What are the two outcomes of competition in the natural world?
Death.
Yes, but what's that name? There's a name for what?
Exclusion.
What kind of
Competitive
exclusion?
exclusion.
Competitive exclusion. So when they compete and one gets completely wiped out. Okay. Competitive exclusion or
Research partitioning.
resource partitioning. You need to know those two. Those are big deals. I only heard two people really say those names. Do we understand what competitive exclusion is?
Yeah.
Two species go in over an area, they fight, and then one wins and one dies. And then resource partitioning? Yeah?
This is your area. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. This is your area.
This is mine.
That's
It's
fine.
Like, it can be separated by time, location, or like.
Yeah, you can hide in the day and the night. You can hide different prey animals or whatever. We did that with our predator prey for all the marbles activity. Remember that? Yes, everyone kind of took their own little spot. Okay. I put the standards up there so you can kind of read through them. A biome is an area of the world where different things live, right? Like. Don't read that out. All right. What two factors create? I only have 30 minutes. What two factors create a biome?
Temperature and precipitation.
Temperature and precipitation. How do weather cells play a role in this? Bless you. So my 6th graders and my 7th graders have to learn this every year. The weather cells.
Weather cycles?
So these are called the Hadley cells, the Farrell cells, and the polar cells. And if there's only one thing you should have gotten from biomes, for me personally. The other stuff, it's too basic for you to be learning right now. This is the new stuff that we spend a lot of time on. I even did a whole demonstration on this, right? The idea that why the rainforest is where the rainforest is. Why is that?
Because the cells through convection are moving the
So
wind.
the convection of the weather cells, right? So which cell creates the rainforest?
Hadley cells?
Hadley cells, right? And that's where the hot air at the equator goes up. When hot air at the equator goes up, it causes
rain.
rain. And then that hot air going up pushes the air at the top away, bless you, and it rains all the way out to the ends where it
Goes down.
But when it goes down, it only goes down because it's
Cold.
Cold things go down, right? How things go up, cold things go down. Cold and dry. Because all the rain has already gone.
Like everything, everywhere's been there.
So now it just drops cold and dry. What does it create there?
Deserts.
Deserts, right? Looking out there at that window, we see perfectly clear blue skies. Why? Because it's a cold, dry air coming down right now. Okay? All right. So that's what creates the biome. So that's why again you get the rainforest followed by which biome?
Rainforest, desert,
Grassland?
Rainforest, grassland,
desert.
desert, in that order. Forest, grassland, desert. Forest, grassland, it's always in that order going out from the center of that Hadley cell. Does that make sense? Okay. Where are the major biomes located? Let me see. So tundra.
Like the
It's
bowl.
like the falls.
You got another general location. Tundra. I heard one person say it.
The bowl?
The poles. Okay. Taiga or boreal forest.
Right below tundra.
Right below the tundra, it's the area northern Canada. I need you to say specific countries. Northern Canada.
And
Alaska.
Taiga is the name for the boreal forest in Russia. So Alaska, yes, but that's not a country.
I'm
Okay.
not Russia.
Okay. So next up, how about this one? Temperate deciduous forest.
Like the east coast of like America.
So east coast of the U.S. and
um,
Asia? Like-
Europe.
Europe.
Oh, Germany.
Europe.
Most of
That's the whole point. Yeah. Okay. Temperate grassland.
Midwest.
That's the Midwest U.S. So that's the Great Plains,
Oh, yeah.
right? You could also have the steppe over there in Asia, but that's what that's going to be. The chaparral,
it's not literally just
California. Really, just California for us. All right. Temperate rainforest.
It's like crap. It's
There's like one spot.
is it like in South America?
People who I forget what we will call them. Hippie kind of people go there.
Oh,
Oregon,
oh,
Seattle,
oh.
right? What do we know about Seattle?
Rain.
It's very rainy.
How much does it rain?
A lot.
Pretty much 20.
Almost 300 days a year.
Oh, that's a lot of
Okay,
rain.
so it's got a lot of rain. Why is that?
Because it's a temperate rainforest.
It's a temperate rainforest, yeah. Ocean currents there, just like in Ireland, drop off lots of heat from the Pacific, right? And that hot water creates lots of precipitation. Okay. All right. Let me see. Desert.
Oh, like
It's
a
like-
Gobi desert.
like Sahara.
Gobi, Sahara. Yeah, those kind of places. Okay. Tropical grassland.
Right
Like
in
the,
front of the rainforest.
Under.
So right next to tropical rainforest. What is that called? Where is that?
Savannah, like-
The savanna. Yes, savannah.
Only in Africa. Though.
So only in Africa. Are we okay?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, tropical rainforest.
Amazon.
The equator.
Directly to the equator.
equator.
Directly to the equator is what we gotta say. Okay. Now describe the temperature, precipitation, and any major plant animal adaptations in each of the following. I'm not too worried about this, but we know just basically tell me the hot or cold. Tundra,
Cold.
taiga,
Cold.
temperate, deciduous.
Mid. Moderate.
Temperate means what? Moderate. Okay. Temperate grassland.
Mid. Moderate.
Mid. Chaparral.
Dry and hot.
Dry. Yeah. Mid. All right. Temperate rainforest.
Mid.
Mid. Moderate. Desert.
Hot.
Hot. Tropical grassland.
Hot.
Tropical rainforest. They're tropical. They're gonna be hot. Okay. What kind of adaptations can I expect from a creature who lives in the desert?
It can conserve its water.
Conserve water on some level, right?
It
Yep.
hunts at night.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Next, let me see. What can I expect from plants in the tropical rainforest?
They grab in a lot of water.
A lot of
Like big leaves.
They're able to live without nutrients.
They have really big leaves, and they try to grow
Up.
up as fast as they can because they're competing over
Sunlight.
space.
sunlight and space. Yes, good. How about the tundra and taiga?
The animals there will probably be
They can.
fluffy,
Fluffy,
They can withstand
fat,
the-
fat. Okay. What else?
They can blend.
Hibernate.
Hibernate. Animals in the desert,
typically
nocturnal.
Yeah.
Be nocturnal so that they don't get as hot during the day. Okay. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, which of these biomes has the most rainfall? Tropical rainforest. Which one has the least rainfall? Desert and
Tundra.
tundra. Okay. Which one has the most biodiversity?
Rainforest.
The least biodiversity?
Tundra.
Probably tundra. You could probably also get away with desert, but I think tundra's the better answer there. And biodiversity is merely what?
The variety of animals that live there.
The amount of species, different species. We talked about these two things, right? Species,
Richness.
richness, and species
Evenness.
evenness are the two types. Now, where are most trees likely to be found on Earth, and how does it link to water and Hadley cells? So find a tropical rainforest, but also
Intemperate.
in the temperate area. So you have what they're called the feral cells, right? So the feral cells have an upward area, just like the rainforest does the Hadley cell, right? And that's what we get our temperate deciduous forest from the feral cells and we get our tropical rainforest from the Hadley cells. Just the different areas where air is going up. Warm air goes up, creates lots of rain. You can't have trees without rain. You cool with that? Okay. Next up. Label each as fresh or salt. Stream,
Fresh.
river,
Fresh.
pond,
Fresh.
lake,
Fresh.
ocean,
Salt.
coral reef.
Salt.
Coral reef?
Salt.
A coral reef.
Yeah. Salt.
Marshland.
Salt. Both.
It's kind of, it depends, but it's typically a mixture, okay? Brackish water. Estuary?
Both.
Both, okay? It just kind of depends. Some marshlands can be fresh, some can be salt. Depends on the area.
What is a marshland?
Just a wetland. So it's areas which, like, think of most of Florida. No one lives in most of Florida because it's gross marsh, okay? All right. How is the water on Earth distributed between fresh and salt?
It's more salt water over fresh because freshwater stuff did in glaciers.
98% of it is salt.
97%.
97.
97% is salt, only 3% is fresh. Where is most of the fresh water located?
Glaciers and ice caps.
Glaciers and ice caps, okay? So how do areas of the world where people live in the desert get much of their water?
Rain.
Okay.
People in the desert get their water from rainfall?
I
Don't
mean,
they import it?
rains, but
They could import it, but
plants.
this is something called, it's called desalination.
Desalination. Yeah.
So desalination is where they take that salt water and they,
Heat it up.
Heat it up until the salt is
it's called reverse osmosis or whatever. They use a lot of pressure or whatever. They force the water out and leave the salt behind. Okay, why are algae so important to life on Earth in terms of O2?
Oh.
Algae,
Yep. Are plants. So
they're plants, so they make
Oh, they make
O2.
Oxygen.
oxygen.
While taking
And why are they so
carbon.
important in terms of carbon dioxide?
Do they take in carbon?
Take carbon out of the air, which can reduce
Global warming.
greenhouse gases and global warming. Exactly. Okay, so both those things. What is stratification?
the separate layers.
Layers. Okay. So how does temperature play a role?
Thermoclines.
There's thermoclines. And in thermoclines, what cannot happen?
No mixers, which means
There's no mixing and
No upwelling.
turnover, upwelling, and stuff going on, right? So turnover or overturn. When does this happen in a lake?
when in like
Fall.
fall and
Spring.
spring.
In spring, when the temperature is
Kind of mid.
mid, is even all the way through, right? The whole lake. Okay, and it doesn't happen at what time of year?
Winter and summer.
Winter because the wind is blocked by the ice, and then summer because of the
Hot.
That's not thermocline.
thermocline. Don't just say hot, but thermocline, right? Okay. How does depth affect the types of organisms that exist? So the deeper you go,
The more pressure there is, but there's more
more pressure, less sunlight. That's a problem, right? So what is the benthic zone and what's found there?
It's all the way at the bottom, and it's like where all the nutrients go.
But-
Where the
Dead
dead
things.
bodies.
Dead bodies are, but yeah, we would also say they're decomposers. Exactly. Breaking that dead stuff down. What is the photic zone?
It's the top layer, and that's where all the photosynthesized.
Photo as in light, right? Photons and light. So photic zones where light is, and what is found or produced there?
Plankton.
Marine fish.
Plankton, fish, but mainly plankton, right? Because that's where they make
Photosynthesis.
what is this? Glucose, right? Okay. Why is most life in the ocean found near the shore? You got this last time. Why is most of the life near the shore?
There's more sunlight, more plants, and nutrients a lot closer to the shore.
Why would you get more nutrients closer to the shore?
Because of the rivers.
Runoff from the land, going into the rivers, getting released into the ocean. That's where a good number of nutrients we found. Also, that's where the upwelling is, right? Of course, we talk about El Nino and stuff. Okay. What is net primary productivity? NPP.
It is all the energy created by photosynthesis after it's been like used or something.
The 10%.
So NPP basically is the gross photosynthesis
But subtract
minus respiration.
there.
Minus the energy you needed to do the process, right? This is a lemonade stand idea, right? Because I get $50 from selling lemonade, but it cost me $10 for my stuff, so I only had
40.
$40 net profit. That's what this is. NPP is your net profit. So your gross amount of photosynthesis minus respiration gives you NPP. So what is gross primary productivity?
All of it collective before you take out your respiration.
And what is respiration?
The process of turning
Glucose into
energy.
energy for the actual photosynthesis process. Okay? All right, if there is 10,000 joules of GPP and 500 joules of respiration required to produce that glucose, what is the NPP?
9,500.
9,500. Does that make sense? Joules. Gotta say joules, you'll get it right. Which areas of the world have the most NPP?
The ocean, technically?
So the ocean is correct because it's the
Biggest.
biggest. Which one has the most NPP per unit of area?
A grassland. Or something.
Not grassland.
Rainforest.
Probably a tropical rainforest, right? Where the most living creatures are, okay? How does the ocean relate to NPP? We talked about that, so it has the most, but it's just very, very spread
Yeah.
out, okay? Why are some plants deeper in the ocean likely to be red and not green?
Because of how much light it can absorb.
Because of the light, right? What can reach down that far?
Red.
Red light cannot,
No, yeah,
Oh.
red-
which is why they appear red, because they are. If you only see my shirt,
because it's absorbing.
because light is bouncing off it, right? It's absorbing all those colors. It's bouncing off. What you see is bouncing off, right? So this wall is blue because blue light's bouncing off. So if I look at algae or I look at plants in the ocean and they're red, that means red is
These colors
Being
not being absorbed.
deflected.
it's being deflected. It's not being absorbed, right? Normally plants are,
Green.
which means they're not absorbing green. You got me? So why would they not want to absorb red in the ocean, deep in the ocean?
Because it takes more energy to do so.
Because
Well,
it's not there.
Because red is the
Shortest wavelength.
longest wavelength. And blue is and which one is higher energy?
Blue.
Blue. So therefore this can get further into the ocean than this can. Does that make sense? So since this can't get very far, would it make any sense for the plants to absorb that light?
No.
No, so just reflect it because barely any can get down there anyways. You with me on that? So that's the light they ignore and they focus on the blues and the greens instead.
So down there, what do the plants look like? Since
They wouldn't look like much because it's too dark. But if you did shine light down there, they would look red
Red.
because they'd be reflecting the red part and absorbing the other parts. Does that make sense? Yeah? How much time I got? Okay, 10 minutes, all right. Let me see here. What is a food web?
It is the flow of energy in an ecosystem.
Yeah, so it shows
how the energy flows.
how the energy flows through the ecosystem. Which direction should they go?
It should go from
It shows the energy. So what gets eaten
Transfer.
will it arrow go?
So it should show from the deer to the wolf, or from the wolf to the deer.
The deer to the wolf.
Deer to the wolf, because it shows the flow of energy, right? What happens when even one species is affected in a food web?
Crap. Landslide something.
A trophic
Trophic
cascade, so it can affect everything else around it, right? Which members of the food web keep matter cycling?
like the
Decomposers?
Decomposers. Okay, they're the ones who keep the matter cycling. Which members affect it most when they're removed?
Keystone species.
Keystone species, exactly. Okay, model, convergent, divergent, transform. What is this?
Conversion.
Convergent,
Divergent.
and transform. You got me? Okay, show me a strike slip fault with your hands. So upside down, they hit, curve your fingers, they pull past, and then what do? They build, you have to say this, and then
They slip.
they slip and snap, okay? All right. So what does each cause? Convergent is going to cause what?
Mountains and volcanoes.
Mountains, island arcs, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, right? Volcanoes is the primary one. Divergent,
Ocean floors.
ocean floor, some volcanoes there as well. Transform boundaries,
Earthquakes.
just earthquakes, okay? And subduction zone,
It's when the terrestrial plates meet the
oceanic
plates.
plate, and the ocean plate goes under, and what happens here?
The pressure causes heat, which causes the magma to heat up at the bottom and creates volcanoes.
Yes, so you get that pressure, that friction right there, right? Which creates a lot of heat. That magma, the rock turns into magma, and it goes up and creates a
Volcano.
volcano. And that will in turn create these things called
Island arcs.
island arcs. Having convergent plate boundaries. Convergent plate boundaries cause them. Which areas of the world have the most island arcs and volcanic activity?
Those were terrestrial and
What has the most volcanic activity around the whole world?
Ring of
Fire.
fire.
Ring of Fire, which is in the
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific. You got me? Japan is the one I usually think about the most, okay? But it's all around the coast there. Okay, what are hotspots?
underwater volcanoes.
Well, they're areas in plate, not along the edges where we normally get volcanic activity, but they're somewhere
In the middle.
in the middle, right? These little holes or openings, and magma starts leaking out. Okay, that's what created which islands?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. What's a strike slip fault?
We just did it.
Transform, boundary,
Yeah.
slide past each other, snag, build,
No pressure.
and then snag. Okay, and what's the American fault that works this
San
way?
Andreas.
San Andreas. All right, what are the percentages of gas in the atmosphere?
98%.
78% nitrogen.
20%.
Stop reading off the page. 20% oxygen.
1%.
Everything else.
Pretty much 1% argon,
Argon.
and then everything else is trace. What percent is carbon dioxide?
0.04.
0.04. Very good. All right. Which of these? Which layer of the atmosphere? I don't know why I didn't say that. Which layer of the atmosphere has the most particles?
The thermosphere.
The troposphere.
Yeah.
First, the troposphere, Earth's thinnest, thickest layer. 9 miles tall, has half the atmosphere. Okay? It's a thing. Don't worry. All right, but anyways, the troposphere is our thinnest, thickest layer. So it's basically the thinnest, all right, in terms of it's only 9 miles tall, but it has half of our atmosphere. So it's our thickest layer in terms of particles. It's also where all the weather occurs. Because what's the only thing, like, the troposphere is the only place that what can exist?
Water.
Water. It's so heavy that it just falls back down. It tries to get above the tropopause there, right? The layer between that and the stratosphere, it just falls back down. Okay? Let me see. Where is the ozone layer?
Stratosphere.
It's in the stratosphere. Which one has auroras and stuff?
Isn't it just also the stratosphere?
Probably no. Those would be like the thermosphere and exosphere, something like that. Really high up. But don't worry about that. Why does the stratosphere increase in temperature after a certain point? Why does it start to get hot in the stratosphere?
Oh,
Even though it should be getting colder when you go up there.
because it's absorbing all the light from the sun.
Because the ozone layer is absorbing,
Radiation.
be specific, UV radiation and converting it into
Energy.
energy. Yeah? Yes.
What's an ozone layer?
Ozone layer is the area, it's O3. We're going to talk about this more later, but it's O3. It's what absorbs UV radiation and prevents skin cancer. Okay? That's its job. What causes wind?
Heat.
Heat
Sun.
I need, because we talked about this just this morning. What causes wind?
Heat from the sun.
Heat from the sun, right? Okay, insulation. What causes global wind patterns?
Heat from the sun.
Heat from the sun and the different
speeds
of
depending on
the spinning,
Of the Earth's core.
ocean current.
Coriolis effect. Ocean currents can matter too. Coriolis effect. What is the Coriolis effect and how does it explain global wind patterns?
You're moving faster at the poles. You're moving faster
At the equator, slower at the poles, which means,
when you go up, you're naturally going to keep your inertia.
yeah, different areas of the world have winds that are going different speeds. So therefore, when they go from one area to the other, they're going to change
direction.
direction. They're going to deflect, typically to the right.
Or at least appear to change.
Appear to change direction. That's a better way to say it. Okay. What is a watershed?
Anywhere that water flows.
Water slides down, right? Yes. And why is it important for any farm, industry, or housing development to analyze the local watershed before construction?
Because the water.
Because the water is going to take up all the runoff.
All the waste oil from that water, that runoff, is going to build up and end up in that river source, right? In that watershed. So they got to make sure they know what's going to end up where, or kill a lot of creatures. How do mountains affect climate? Can you think of an example?
Rain shadow.
Himalayan mountains causing,
Monsoons on one side, desert on the other.
and that would be called a rain shadow. How does ocean temperature and currents affect biomes? Think Ireland and Seattle.
It brings
The Gulf Stream.
Gulf Stream or Pacific warm waters creating heat up there, right? For those places. Now, modeling El Nino and La Nina, we just did that. Okay? But basically, if I'm doing El Nino, what should I expect?
California is flooding.
Strong wind patterns to the right. You can say strong. I'm not saying that they're strong, but the wind patterns are going to the right, the east. Okay, and that creates what off the coast of the U.S. Storms. Not only there, but also South America and Central too. Right. Okay, so you get lots of storms over here, and you get what kind of weather in Asia?
Drought.
Dry weather, cold, dry weather over there. So lots of droughts and fires and stuff. Right.
But they fish eating good.
But they fish eating good. Okay. All right. Now, if we talk about, in El Nino, we won't have very good.
Fish.
We won't have very good fish. We are fishing in that place because there's very little upwelling because of the thermocline down there, right?
No nutrients.
All right, so no nutrients. Now with La Nina, right, the wind will be going which way? Stronger to the left than normal, right? And when I do that, we'll get storms over Asia, okay? But what do we get over here?
Cold, dry temperature.
Okay, I get colder, dry temperatures in the U.S.
But the fishery.
All right, but the fisheries be popping, okay? Okay, so you get lots of fish from all of the what? Nutrient, well, that's it. All right, and which one is wetter and which one is drier for us in the Americas?
Nino is wetter. Nina is
Because what do little boys do?
dry.
And big girls don't cry. The song Big Girls Don't
Alex,
Cry?
I think you're showing your age.
If you haven't watched the Four Seasons, I feel sorry for you. Especially if you're a theater major and you haven't watched the Four Seasons, shame on you. Okay? Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons. Okay, that's perfect timing. And have a wonderful day.